Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening, and I'm Shelby Clark with Primetime Local News. Thanks for joining us. Another person who tested positive for COVID-19 in Saskatchewan has died. The person was in the 80-plus age group in the Central East Zone. There are 164 new cases, including 2 in the Northwest. One of those is in the immediate Lloydminster area. 160 people are in hospital, with 5 of them in the Northwest. 22 people are in intensive care. More than 184,000 vaccine doses have been administered province-wide. Almost 14,000 of those were given in the Northwest Zone. As part of national volunteer work, FCSS Lloydminster is hosting a drive-in movie event to recognize Lloydminster's volunteers. And Eric Bay has more on the event.
I'm joined today by Patrick Lancaster with FCSS Lloydminster. Patrick, thank you so much for taking some time with me. And an exciting time for FCSS as you are hosting a big event as part of National Volunteer Week with a drive-in movie scheduled at the Service Sports Center on April 24th. Can you take me through the event and what is going to be going on?
What you've got in store is part of the National Volunteer Week celebration. And we're planning to have a drive-in movie for community volunteers. The drive-in will have 3 showings, and volunteers within the community can sign up for one of the showings. We're showing Dr. Doolittle, which is more for family-oriented and for younger children, volunteers who have younger children. And then we have a showing of the Mr. Rogers movie, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
And now with this, it is a free event, but you guys are asking that people do register before coming. So where do people need to go, and what do they have to do to be able to attend the drive-in movies?
Yes, we are hoping folks will register in advance. The place to go is at lloydminster.ca/FCSS events. And you can sign up for one of the showings there. It's really, really important for folks to sign up because there are limited drive-in spots. We can only fit so many cars out safely in the parking lot there for the showing, and we want to make sure that everyone is able to get a spot. So I would advise folks to sign up and sign up early.
And obviously, we are still operating under COVID guidelines. So what does FCSS have in place to adhere to these COVID guidelines?
We're following Saskatchewan Health Authority's guidelines as they pertain to drive-in theaters. So the event itself, we're encouraging folks to stay in their vehicles. Social distancing will be in effect. And we are going to be providing popcorn and drinks, but these will all be in sealed, prepackaged containers. And we're just encouraging folks to respect those social distancing guidelines and to stay in their vehicles. The sound will be broadcast straight to the radio, so there's no reason to need to get out.
And now this will be a big community event. City Council will be there as well. There is also a local business aspect to it. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, we're working with a couple of local businesses to put on the event. Maz Entertainment is helping us with a lot of the technical side of putting on the event, as well as we are working with May Cinema for the catering and the popcorn to make sure that it's tasty and fresh.
And as mentioned, this is all a part of National Volunteer Week. So how important was it to show some appreciation for all the hardworking volunteers here in the city?
So we're really excited to be able to host this event. We've got so many wonderful volunteers in this community, and we really encourage you to come out, to sign up, get registered for it, and let us show our appreciation for all the hard work that you put in over the course of the year. Lloydminster is fortunate to have so many volunteers, and we just want to show you a good time.
All right, Patrick, thank you so much for taking some time today. And once again, the drive-in movies will be on April 24th, and pre-registration is required.
The Lloydminster RCMP is challenging youth age 3 to 12 with an Easter-themed coloring contest. Tate Laycraft has more.
Sitting down with me for a chat via Zoom is Constable Melanie Flynn from the Lloydminster RCMP. Thanks so much for joining me, Melanie.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tate.
So you're here to talk about an Easter-themed coloring contest that you've put together over the last few weeks that features the Lloydminster RCMP's service dog, Hasco. Could you just tell me a little bit about how the contest is going to work?
Yeah, for sure. So the Lloydminster RCMP detachment, we just wanted to bring some COVID safe fun into the youth of Lloydminster's lives. And we're inviting youth ages 3 to 12 to participate in a coloring contest that we're hosting. So I've partnered with the schools, both the public and the Catholic schools, as well as local media sources like yourself, just to get awareness out there about this coloring contest. And in reference to this, it's kind of some Easter fun, but also we want to bring attention to the police dog services here in Lloydminster. So highlighting our police dog, Hasco. So we have a fun coloring contest for the youth to participate in. So last week, Hasco went on a little Easter egg track, and our forensic investigation sources, they were able to use their photography skills to snap a few fun shots of that. So we have some fun photos of Hasco out there in some Easter baskets. And in those Easter baskets are some coloring pages for the youth to collect. Here's the basket that I suggest the youth go looking for. And there's just one of the little photos of Hasco. So in Hasco's Easter basket is where you'll find the coloring pages. And you can find those at your school or at the detachment here in Lloydminster. And we're asking the youth to collect those coloring pages, do their best coloring, and then bring it back to place in Hasco's Easter basket. And then myself, school resource officer, I will go around and collect those, and we'll have some RCMP officers judge the colorings.
And what about Hasco himself then? How long has he been with the Lloydminster RCMP, and what's he like?
Yeah, so Hasco's been here at the detachment for a while. He is a pretty large German Shepherd. He spring's one of his favorite seasons, so he is always eager to be out there sniffing and tracking. He loves his Kong. He has a little dog toy. It's a Kong, and that's his favorite toy. And yeah, he really supports the RCMP detachment here. Whenever we need to track someone, Hasco's out there helping us out. So he's part of the team, and yeah.
And when's the submission deadline then? And also, I hear you guys have some cool prizes that you're looking to hand out. So could you touch base on those?
So we're asking all the coloring pages to be turned in by April 16th. And then on April 19th, after some diligent judging by the RCMP, we will select 3 winners out of 3 age categories. And those winners will receive a fun little package from the RCMP, including a police dog calendar featuring Hasco on the cover. So those calendars were bought by the detachment there to support Ned's Wish, which is a foundation that it's a charitable foundation that supports retired police dogs. So it's kind of close to Hasco's heart, I'm sure. So that'll be a part of the prizes for the youth.
Thanks so much for your time, Melanie.
A resident in North Battleford has started a GoFundMe campaign to raise funds to revitalize the city's dog park. Jace Mackey has more.
I'm joined today with Michelle Harris. She is from North Battleford. She recently started a GoFundMe campaign that started to pick up some traction online recently. Now, she's hoping to raise money for the North Battleford Dog Park. She's hoping to help alleviate some costs that some volunteers have been having to spend to help upkeep the park. Now, Michelle, can you just tell us a little bit more about this campaign and why you decided to start it?
I started it there is a dog park committee, but I don't really know much about it. I'm actually in the process of meeting with the current president to take it over. And I started the GoFundMe page just to try and get some of the maintenance work done that needs to be there, and to help pay for poop bags. And the city has taken the garbage can away, so the people that go there are taking the garbage either home or taking it to the dump and paying the dump fees. So it was just kind of to try and help the volunteers out there with some of the extra costs.
And can you just talk a little bit more about the work that volunteers have been putting into this dog park, and also some of the issues that you'd like to help fund or help fix?
Well, a few of them walk around the park and pick up the dog poop that owners don't, which is quite a few. They look after the garbage, they take it out, they buy the garbage bags to put back in the bins. They mow the grass, they pump water sometimes in the spring, because when it thaws, there's quite a few puddles and lakes out there. But it's all, they find gravel and pour it to try and deal with some of the mud.
And how important is it to have this dog park in the North Battleford community?
It's very important. It's helped my dog. I have a dog. I've had her for 7.5 years now, and she's very timid. And in the last 6 years I've been taking her there, she's come out of her shell. She'll go up to people. She still takes a long time, but without that park, she wouldn't have got that socialization with people that she needed, or other dogs.
And you guys have a goal of $3,000 for this GoFundMe. How much have you raised so far?
Around $1,600.
And what has the reaction been like from the community? What have you been hearing from people?
The reaction I have heard back has been really positive. I've had a few people wanting to help me. But until I get the presidency and I know exactly what is going on, I'm just kind of putting in little plans of what needs to be fixed first, or taken care of and maintained.
So what's your message to the people who have supported this campaign so far?
I really appreciate all the support that I have been given and all the donations. It means a lot. I really didn't think when I started it that it would get the reaction it did. It was just kind of trying to help out.
And for people who are interested in learning more or donating to this GoFundMe, how are they able to do so?
They can go to the GoFundMe page, and I believe it's under the North Battleford Dog Park. And if they have any ideas or questions, they can email me through there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me today.
Thank you so much.
Now here's our Jasmine King with the first look at your weather forecast. Thanks, Shelby. Taking a look at our current conditions here in the border city, we are seeing a lot calmer temperatures and wind than we did see yesterday, but we are still seeing that wind chill around -14 degrees. But as we look at current conditions around the region, we are seeing -6 in Marwayne, and -4 is pretty common throughout the region in St. Paul, Bonnyville, and Lac-La-Biche and Vermilion, as well as Edmonton is one of our only places not in the minuses. And as we look at the Saskatchewan side, Green Lake, St. Walburg, and North Battleford are all at -6 degrees, and Maidstone and Meadow Lake are sitting at -7. Now, as we look at the satellite radar, there's not much activity, but we can see that going into the Maidstone and North Battleford area. But looking at North Battleford overnight, they will be getting to -14 degrees, so a bit colder. But as they go into tomorrow, they will be seeing a nice degree at 5 degrees with that mix of sun and cloud. And as we look at Cold Lake tomorrow and overnight, they are at -8 degrees overnight, but getting up to 8 degrees tomorrow. So they will be seeing a bit of wind, but it'll be a nice mix of sun and cloud throughout the day. Looking at the school day forecast tomorrow here in Lloydminster, -3 for when the kids go off to school in the morning. But by lunch, they will be getting to 5 degrees, and by the time school's over, it'll be nice and sunny at 8 degrees. Now, as we look at your 3-day forecast in Lloydminster, -10 will be the high tomorrow, and low will be -8 degrees with that mix of sun and cloud. Thursday will be one of our nicest day of the upcoming week at 14 degrees, with that sun peeking out just a bit more. But Friday it will be cloudier, but it'll still be up at 9 degrees. So we will be seeing getting into those double digits throughout most of this week and heading into the weekend. But we will have your 7-day forecast and more news coming up after the break. In the AJHL, the Bonnyville Pontiacs are looking to get back on track. Since the 2020-2021 regular season restart, the Pontiacs have picked up one win, coming back on March 12th. Ed McKinney sat down with Pontiacs head coach Rick Swan ahead of their weekend matchup.
I'm pleased to be joined now by Bonnyville Pontiac's head coach and general manager, Rick Swan. Rick, thank you for taking this time. Now, Rick, usually I like to keep these things pretty light, but the team is on a 4-game losing streak, being outscored 17-8 in that time span. Now, Rick, I know it's tough to maybe pinpoint one specific spot here, but how can the team tighten up here on defense, and vice versa? How can the team be sparked offensively?
Yeah, I think, and not to make any excuses, but our whole philosophy right from the beginning was to get a young group in, use these next 3 months as an opportunity to train, develop, see what we have for this year, and see moving forward what we're going to look like for next year. And you take 5 veteran guys off our back end that we lost either to the American NCDC bubble or different leagues that were playing at the time when we were in the pause, and you insert a very inexperienced young back end. And a big reason we're making mistakes, which young guys do, and we only have been now here for 22 days, and we're playing against a well-coached team with also a young group. But I think that for us, in order to change our situation from our previous 4 games, is to minimize the amount of shots, number one, at our goaltender. And it's just involved repetition and quality repetition of clean breakouts, tightening up in our defensive zone, and making sure that our track to be able to retrieve the puck and spend more time in the offensive zone has to be our bread and butter. And it's a learning process. We know that it's a fine balance between practicing hard and trying to minimize the amount of wear and tear on our players, and as well as making sure that they're healthy and ready to go. And then as well as don't overwhelm them with the teaching concept, because the game still ultimately is about playing to your skill set and allowing players just to play the game of hockey without stagnating them a little bit because of the thought process that they're going through with structure at this level.
Now, Rick, it still is early on in the season, but your guys' power play is operating at just 10% on this season. Do you feel like it's losing momentum for you guys? And as well, do you feel like it's just one of those things that will click, as time continues to progress?
I do. You think that you take off, key members of our team, like Matt McKim, an 85-point guy, and some of the key pieces that we had on the back end. We're looking at it as more of an opportunity to get our young guys, elevate them into positions that maybe in a normal year that they wouldn't have had. And so it's a matter of just us being patient with them, going over a lot of video, making sure that they stick with concepts. Ultimately, it's about movement. You have to move the puck. You have to move yourself to force adjustments so that you can get opportunities to get in shot lanes. And it's about retrieving pucks and getting bodies to the net, and also making sure that, as a group, that you've got good support around the puck at all times. And these are situations that a lot of our guys have never faced before, that usually you get that in your second year or your third year as a 20-year-old, because you understand those concepts a lot better. So for us, painfully positive, staying patient with the process, and again, making sure as a coaching staff that we have no stone unturned, and we're doing everything we can to provide our players with the resources they need for success. And we know it's not going to be a day thing or a week thing that it's going to turn around. It's just going to be a matter of us making sure that we teach the right things, and hopefully this is going to click in, because we ultimately know that in a COVID season that what we do here is important for what's going to look like for our organization next year and our program next year.
Well, Rick, I appreciate you taking this time and joining me, and best of luck this upcoming weekend.
Hey, really a pleasure talking to you again, Evan. Thanks so much.
Here's our Jasmine King with another look at your weather forecast. Thanks, Shelby. Taking a look at our central region right now and the current temperatures we are seeing, we are still sitting at -7 here in the border city as well as in Cold Lake, but Alberta is a little bit warmer than Saskatchewan, with Red Deer at 2 degrees, Rocky Mountain House at 3, and Edson at 4. And looking at the Saskatchewan side, Melfort is at -10 degrees and Meadow Lake and Saskatoon are both at -7. Now, as we look into the northern parts of the provinces, Stony Rapids is at -12 as well as Wollaston Lake. South End at -11, Buffalo Narrows and La Loche, as well as Fort Chipewyan sitting at -10 degrees. Peace River is currently sitting at 0 and Slave Lake is at -4 and High Level is at -7 degrees. And taking a look down in southern Alberta and Saskatchewan, they are a bit warmer than the central region, but not by much. Lethbridge and Medicine Hat both sitting at 2 degrees with Calgary at 3 and Banff at -1. And as we look, Yorkton is at -8, Swift Current, Moose Jaw, and Estevan are at -7, and Regina is also at -8. But throughout the day today, they are seeing similar conditions to what we saw yesterday here in the border city, as well as Winnipeg, who is seeing winds between 50 and 70 kilometers an hour with that bit of snow in there. But Winnipeg is sitting at -9 degrees. Quebec City is at 11, and Halifax is at 9. Toronto is at 20 degrees, which is the opposite of Iqaluit, which is at -21. Yellowknife is at -15, and Vancouver is sitting at 9 degrees. Now, as we look overnight across the region, Bonnyville, Provost both getting to -7 degrees, Paradise Hill at -9, and Meadow Lake getting to -10 degrees. Now, as we look tomorrow around the region, we will be seeing a lot of similar temperatures. 10 seems to be the common theme around the Lloydminster area, with Maidstone and Vermilion as well as Marwayne at that degrees. Bonnyville, Cold Lake, Pierceland, and Lac La Biche at 8, and Vegreville and Wainwright are at 12 degrees. North Battleford will be one of the coldest spots, as well as Isle La Crosse at 5 degrees. Now, as we look at the 7-day forecast around Lloydminster, Thursday will be our warmest day of the week at 14 degrees, with that mix of sun and cloud throughout the day. Friday will be at 9, and Saturday and Sunday are both sitting at 7 degrees, but there will be a bit of difference around the weather on that day, with Saturday seeing that sun and cloud mix, but Sunday there is around that 60% chance that we will be seeing some precipitation. Monday will be at 10, and Tuesday will be at 9 with that mix of sun and cloud throughout. Our averages around this time of year are usually around 4 degrees, so we actually are a bit above that for now, and our average low is -6. But that is your 7-day forecast, and we'll have more news coming up after the break.
Welcome everybody. We're joined once again with Becca Lawrence for this week's pet project. Becca, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. And I see we got another fuzzy friend to show off this week. Who's this?
This lovely gal here is Boo. So she actually was a previous resident of ours here at the SPCA. She was adopted out, but she unfortunately, they tried for about a year, but she just unfortunately would not get along with their other kitty. So she has decided to be very partial to other feline friends for her life. So yeah, Boo needs to go to a home without other kitties. And we're really not too sure about dogs, but I kind of have a feeling she'll probably be about the same.
But it sounds and looks like she's obviously good with people. Like she's been just a sweetheart the entire time we've been chit-chatting. So
yes.
So
yeah.
clearly well behaved in that manner, but maybe is just better suited to a home where she gets all the attention.
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So Becca, we were chatting last week about how you guys have an Easter event coming up. So I hear you guys have more details on that. Do you care to share with us?
Yes, absolutely. So we are starting today. We're doing Easter photos. So you can bring your pet and or your kid. And it's just by donation. So you can choose to donate whatever you'd like to donate. And we can print out a copy for you, but we are also going to email them to you as well, too. So if you want to make them into a bigger photo or anything like that, then you have that option as well. But yeah, and then we are doing it today until the end of the day. And then on Wednesday, same thing, 12 until 5. And on Thursday, 12 until 8. So we do have a scheduling thing that you can use on our Facebook page. You can click on the link and you can book your time slot.
Beautiful. There you go. So if
Yeah.
anybody out there would like to get their photo taken for Easter, it's a great time of year to, make a memory. So certainly get in touch with the SPCA, book your appointment, and, make it happen. Beautiful. And so Becca, we were also talking last week, you guys have a volunteer program, and word is that it's going very well. You guys got a lot of applications. So why don't you tell us how that's all transpiring?
Yeah, so I mean, since COVID has shown up, we haven't really been able to have our volunteer orientation. So I've had a boatload of, volunteer requests. So I finally was able, we kind of developed enough of a process to be able to have our volunteers back here at the shelter. So I've been sending all of that information out, and we've had a great response. So basically, if you want to start volunteering, it's a nice, quick, easy process, and still the same training, but it's just a little bit easier. And yeah, we'll try and get you into the shelter as fast as we can to start volunteering.
Beautiful. So you are still accepting applications then? If anybody out there, perfect. So you're not too late. If you're at home and you're wondering, can I still make it into volunteer, you can just send in your application. Beautiful.
Absolutely.
And another topic that we've been talking about lately is your guys' Barn Buddies program. Especially with the spring, it's kind of kitten season out there. And, there are some wonderful farm cats who are still looking for homes, I hear.
Yeah, so we've had some colorful ones come in. They don't care for human contact sort of thing, so we would like them to go out either to a shop or into a barn scenario. So we do have quite a few that are at the vet clinic right now over at Animal Hospital, and they're doing their spay and neuters. So probably as long as they're looking good and happy and healthy by tomorrow, they will be ready for their new forever homes.
Beautiful. So if you're out there and you're a farm owner and you're looking for a mouser, that's the exact kind of cat that you want. One that can, help, feed itself as well. So beautiful. And so how are your overall numbers, Becca? I always like to ask, are you guys, reaching capacity? How are things looking for your cats and your dogs and all that?
Yeah, we're still doing really good. Actually, we only have a handful of dogs here. And then same thing with the cat. So we've been calling steady off our waiting list for the last week, and we're getting bookings in here and there, but it's a nice gradual increase in numbers. So we're expecting soon for kitten season to start, but we're just glad we're able to get a lot of these adult stray cats that have been out there for a little while. And yeah, so it's been a nice gradual increase to full again.
Well, that's great to hear. And speaking of kitten season coming up, I got to ask about your physical item donations. Is there anything that you guys need in anticipation of the kitten spring season coming up? Or anything just in general?
Yeah, we always, litter, any kind of litter is fine. We always try to help our fosters out as much as possible. A lot of them like to do it on their own, which we really appreciate. But, we always want to be able to set them fully up. So, if litter pans, like the smaller litter pans is a good one to send with fosters. Any kind of litter, dry kitten food, Purina and Whiskas seems to be the most popular with the babies. And, wet food is fine as well, too. But, yeah, anything to set up those kitties, even if you're looking to get KMR, the powdered milk, that we can definitely take that as well.
Beautiful. Well, you heard it there, guys. You have a whole list of items that the SPCA could use. If you happen to be shopping and you see something on sale, a big box of cat litter, maybe do a good deed for the day and pick one up and drop it off on your way home. Well, that's unfortunately all the time we have for this week, Becca, but I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us again, and we will talk with you again next week.
Yes, we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Manage your waste and recyclables with Quick Pick Waste Disposal. 100% locally owned and proud to serve and support the communities we call home. Quick Pick, the convenient solution to avoid pollution.
Joining us for Primetime Local News is Daryl Benson, the club's president. Now, Daryl, what is the Rotary Club of Lloydminster's plan for Lobster Fest this year?
Well, since restrictions have not been lifted to the point where we can have large gatherings, we're looking to postpone our Lobster Fest this year, similar to what happened last year at the start of the pandemic. And we're hoping that when things do open up to a point where we can have a larger gathering, whether that be this fall or definitely by next spring, which typically Lobster Fest is usually the first week of May. So we're definitely going to pencil that in for 2022, first weekend of May, Saturday. But in the meantime, if something does happen sooner than that, we may have a modified or smaller version. But at this point, we just felt that obviously, since we can't do it, other groups have been doing some smaller drive-throughs, meals, that type of thing. And we just felt at this point we wanted to support local restaurants because they are now open for and have been for a while for seating and whatnot. And we feel that we don't want to compete with that or any of the other service clubs. We want to be something that people can look forward to once restrictions do lift to the point where we're available to do that.
And how many years has this event been held now here in the community?
Well, it's a bit of a controversial one amongst some of the elder statesmen in our club, but it's been at least 30 years that I know I've been attending, and I think it's somewhere getting closer now to 40. So it's been a bit of an annual rite of passage in the spring. It tends to coincide just by coincidence with the city's cleanup week in May, and along with the Household Hazardous Roundup. So everybody does all their work all week, and then they come and have a good time Saturday night at Lobster Fest. So we're hoping that we can do that again. If we can't this year, we're hoping that we can definitely do it the first week of May next year.
And if anything were to change, and it did happen this year, even with a smaller feast, I guess, for Lobster Fest, what would the club do differently with Lobster Fest to avoid COVID-19? Would it be kind of like Rib Fest with the drive-through?
Well, at this point, we're really not talking about doing the drive-through. That is an option for sure. One of the other former club members that is now president in Leduc, they did one last summer. But of course, at that time, restaurants in Alberta were totally closed, just takeout, and they had a very successful drive-through. I think people's point of view has changed on that to some degree, and I think they're looking for something that's more in person, and they're missing the social aspect of a gathering, and they're really looking forward to clubs like ours and some of the other service clubs having something again, whether that be this fall or next spring.
And in previous years, how was support from the community with Lobster Fest?
It was excellent. It was actually growing the last few years. I think we were at a record number of over 800 in 2019. So it's a full building. That may change. We may have to go to a bigger building depending on how the rules and guidelines change. We're not sure if the old normal will be the new normal, as they like to use that term, but maybe we have to go to a bigger building, a little more spacing. I think there'll be some protocols such as hand sanitizer that we're going to see for a long time to come. So we'll definitely be following whatever the rules are at that time, shall we?
And what can others do in the meantime while you're in the middle of the planning process to help support this?
Well, we did have our Canadian Dream Vacation lottery this winter, and we had great support from the community. It was a solid again this year. So that was one of our big fundraisers. And we thank the entire community for buying tickets. And we had our draw March 1st, and all the award winners were announced. So that was something that we did differently. Typically, we do that particular fundraiser as a monthly draw, but this year we did it all in one fell swoop and one big bang on March 1st. And it was very successful. Other things that we're doing or other clubs are doing is we're just supporting the other nonprofits and other service clubs in town, such as Border City Connects. They have a fundraiser, the Polar Plunge, which is going on right now. And I know that there's a couple of our club members that are part of that as well. And I believe donations for that is closing April 1st at midnight. And community certainly could support someone like Border City Connects with doing that. And other things that we're doing with some of the donation money that we did receive this year was we donated $5,000 to the Lloydminster Rescue Squad, and we'll be doing a presentation for that next week. We donated some money to assist with the Pioneer House and to get iPads and some different ways of communicating for the seniors in there. And that was something that was very successful over the Christmas season. So we're still doing what we can. And during the course of this, because there's always needs in the community, pandemic or not, they're always there. And we're trying to help out as best we can, as all the other service clubs are in town.
Is there anything else you'd like to add for people to know about concerning Lobster Fest?
No, just to watch for an advertising, whether that's on Facebook, on social media, or in the paper, or thank you today for taking interest in our club and in our event. But we will let the community know as soon as we feel it's safe and we hear that it's okay to do that. The Lloydex has been a great partner, and we want to make sure that we have a couple dates secured in case things do open up sooner, but look for us no later than March, our first week of May next year at the very latest. So no, I just want to thank the community for their support, and hopefully we can have a Lobster Fest, whether that be this fall or definitely next spring, Shelby.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Daryl.
Thank you very much. Have a great week.
Taking another look at your 7-day forecast, tomorrow our high will be 10 degrees, but overnight tonight we will be seeing it being a little bit more cloudy in that wind coming in from the northwest. But as we look at the rest of the week, again, Thursday will be our highest day at 14 degrees, Friday at 9, and Saturday and Sunday will be clear as well, with Sunday having that 60% chance of precipitation, as well as Monday will be at 10 and Tuesday at 9 degrees. So we will be seeing that mix of sun and cloud throughout the week, moving past what we saw on Monday with that mix of snow and wind, but we will be getting warmer as the week goes on. Thanks for joining us for Primetime Local News. You can catch us in the next hour on CITL.